Tony Martin, you're on Half the Battle with Dan and Shaq. How's it going, man?
It's going good. How about yourself?
Doing amazing. So, man, we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, you're coming off the most impressive performance of your UFC career. You went out there against Johnny Case in the grudge match, defeated him very impressively. I mean, did that fight go according to plan? Were you satisfied with the victory?
No, yeah, it was a good win. It's a good performance to show my striking and just introduce that part of my game. But, obviously I want to finish. I want to finish every fight that I'm in. And I think there's some openings that I should have jumped on a little bit earlier. But, overall I'm satisfied always with a win. And there's a lot of beef going into the fight. So it was just a good outcome. And, yeah, I was pretty thrilled with the performance. But, like I said, I always want to finish.
In that matchup, you mentioned the beef, but I mean, it seemed like you were calm, cool, collected out there. It didn't seem like it got to you at all.
Yeah, no, I definitely, try to be professional once I get in there and, just stick to my game plan and what we worked on in training. And I try not to get too emotional. Mostly, it doesn't matter who's in there. I'm going to go in there and handle my business and just have the best performance. That's what I have to do.
Yeah, and Tony, in your UFC career, I mean, you've been very tested, in comparison to your next opponent. I mean, you've been in there with Beneil Dariush, Rashid Magomedov, Leo Santos, and all those losses were respectable. Are you grateful that you got to experience those fights, very early in your career, and do you think they're going to help you out in the future?
Yeah, I don't know if I would say I'm grateful for any losses in my career, but those were very new in this. I was very new in the sport when I fought those guys. I only had 3-4 years of training from the beginning. I come from no background, so that's a very fast approach to be fighting those guys at that high of a level. But yeah, obviously I took a lot of things from those fights, and now I'm just so mentally strong. Leading in, and I fully believe if I fought those guys today, that I'd easily win every one of those fights. So, I definitely have the experience going in of a little bit of tougher competition inside octagon, but and I've got a lot of momentum going into the fight, so I'm pretty excited going in. But my main focus is just getting in there and taking them out.
So you told me that the Felipe Olivier fight, that was the first time you really felt like you belonged there, like you were a UFC caliber fighter. Now, I personally disagree because, you won the first round in basically all your L's, but here, now you're on a streak, man. So how did it feel in the Johnny Case fight compared to the Felipe fight?
Yeah, I felt good. It was just, I would just say more of my composure level of fighting at that high of a level was where, I became, I was always a good athlete. And that's what got me through all my fights leading up until finally I ran into the wolves in the UFC and realized, okay, we got to make sure my skill set and my mental game is up to speed. So, but the Johnny Case fight was big on the mental game. It was a huge fight. Prior to the fight, I went out to Holland, like I was saying before, and sparred with Nicky Holtzkin. And it was just a lot of big confidence boosters for me leading into the fight. So it was just one of those things where I got a lot of momentum going forward, and I just wanted to keep the ball rolling, and that's why we jumped into a fight right away.
Yo, what was it like sparring with Nicky Holtzkin? Because, that guy's a legend.
Oh, it was, I was pretty nervous at first. You don't know what to expect. He was 3 weeks out of his fight, and, mostly I was expecting, hey, maybe I'll get like 1 or 2 rounds with them. But no, we sparred, 5 rounds the first day, and then the next day we did 8 rounds, and it's a different game. The kickboxing is a lot different than the boxing, and kickboxing is a lot different than MMA, but he throws everything to hurt you. That's just the way he throws. And he doesn't throw in crazy amounts of numbers, but when he throws, it's scary. So that part was, was pretty cool to deal with. And it was just a different approach. They got different training methods. That was nice to see different training and different drills. And, the Dutch, they don't mess around. They train hard.
Does that give you a lot of confidence training with a guy like that? Because now you're going in against OAM, and obviously OAM's allowed to take you down. He's allowed to do a bunch of stuff that Nicky probably wasn't doing, but still, to stand up with a guy of that caliber, that's got to work wonders for your confidence.
Yeah, I wanted to go out there actually again, but then this fight jumped on us so fast. It was a 5-week notice. OAM, he's a southpaw, so it was just like, so I didn't end up getting out there, but I plan on going back. I want to, keep working with Nicky. He's an awesome guy. He took me in right away when I got out there. So I plan to go back out there in the future. But yeah, my confidence is extremely high. It really helped me just show, hey, you can hang with the best. You can, and I was able to work my stuff with them. So it was one of those things that obviously he's a better striker, but it's one of those where it's just, hey, like I belong here. I can hang with these guys. And every day I'm just trying to work to get better.
Yeah, Tony, even early in your UFC career, you showed that you had the potential to be a very good striker, considering that, you got that long, nice frame and that you're very long with your jab and straight right. And, OAM in the past, he's been more of a guy that takes his opponents down. But in his last fight, he showed that he also improved his boxing. In this next fight, where do you see that you're going to beat him?
Honestly, I've gone back and forth a little bit where I definitely plan. I fully expect to be the better striker. I fully expect to when my right hand. I just got to believe in the right hand, and once my right hand starts landing, it's going to be downhill from there. It's just going to be more of the filling out, finding my range right away, and once I find that, it's going to be a downhill battle for him. But I also believe that if at any time I can shoot in takedowns, I'm very confident in my grappling game. I've been grappling. That's what I came up doing with Brock Larson, which is another southpaw grappler. Obviously, freakishly strong. So it's one of those things where I've been dealing with this type of guy since I started. This isn't a new matchup that I've never seen. This is why we took the fight on 5 weeks' notice. Is that this is what I was built to beat. I started with Brock, and every day we've trained to beat wrestlers and grapplers of this style. So it's kind of a great matchup where I've been wanting this fight because I've yet to fight a guy like that. So it's I'm pretty excited for the fight. I think it's a great matchup, and mostly now it's fight week. We're already out in Pittsburgh, and we're already getting settled. So I'm just really excited to get back in there.
Man, what's the ceiling for a guy like you? Because you've come such a long way. People used to criticize your cardio, but now your last 3 fights, you submit Felipe in the 3rd round, and then the previous 2, you went all 3 rounds hard. So, shit, man, what is the ceiling for you?
Yeah, I don't think it was ever a cardio issue. I think it was more of me and my output. I was so new where I was having to force so many things and not react, and I was just having to expend so much unnecessary energy to do takedowns and do my striking because I wasn't confident in my ability. Now I'm able to go out there and I'm just having fun. I'm just going out there and I'm really enjoying it, and my striking is so much smoother. My grappling, I'm not forcing takedowns as much, and that's really just helps the cardio. It's the biggest part, and I think the ceiling. Honestly, I still think I'm 2-3 years away from my prime. I think I still have a lot of growth left, and I think in 2-3 years that you could see me easily at the top of the sport, if not champion by then, and that's what my game plan is. And then be champion for a couple of years, and I'm out.
Yeah, and that's a good idea. And a lot of dudes are coming out of your camp right now. Rob Font, Calvin Qatar. How has moving down to Boston been influential in your career right now?
Yeah, it's been those guys are a little bit smaller, so I train with them as much as possible. But once they start dieting, they can't train with me too much. I'm just too big. But, Rob was a big guy to, just see a different approach to the game. His striking is very smooth and powerful. And Rob's how I found my boxing coach, Eddie Alvarez. And I've been doing all my boxing training with Eddie. And that's just, done wonders for my career and my self-confidence. But, mostly down at City Tongue, I'm just doing a lot of sparring with, Chip Pollard and the guys over there that push me. And then I do a lot of my boxing training with Eddie, but those guys are huge, have helped motivate me, and they come to training sessions just to push me. But, Boston's been great. It's been a great 3 years there.
Let me ask you this, Tony. So last night at UFC 215, one of your former opponents, Alex White, had a fight, and he absolutely destroyed his opponent. Does it at all give you a little smile, a little sense of pride when you see your former opponents go out there and do well?
It's just like, it's business. I don't have anything personal against anyone that I fought other than a little bit with Case. But you know, I mean, I just good for them. You know, I don't ever want to see, you know, a guy, you know, his career be over after a fight or anything. So it's, you know, there's so much financial that, you know, gain of being in the UFC compared to the other organizations. And even though we don't get paid that much as UFC fighters, but one of those things that is just good for them. You know, it's you know, Alex White seemed like a really nice guy when I talked to him in the back and whatnot. So you know, I'm glad for him. And yeah, he looked great.
Oh, yeah. No, the reason I asked that, Tony, is because it goes to show that you're fighting really tough dudes. It's not like you're fighting a bunch of bums. Last night, he absolutely destroyed his opponent, and you 30-27 this guy. That's why I'm asking.
No, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it doesn't give me any more confidence. So I'm just, you know, I truly believe in my ability. So I know that I feel like I belong in there with the best fighters, and I think that I could beat the best fighters in the world. And so if they go out there and win every fight, you know, as long as I'm winning, that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned your coach Brock Larson, you know, who in his day was an absolute beast who used to maul guys. And I mean, can he? Is he the one to credit for that first round against Rashid when you pulled off that sick technique with that armbar Kimura trap you had?
Yeah, he's, you know, Brock is a huge Kimura guy, and he's obviously built perfectly for ripping arms off. You know, that's what he's built a career on, and he's taught me, you know, every Kimura technique that I use. It's funny that, you know, that I go out to Boston, everyone pretty much calls me the Kimura guy, and then, but then I always bring Brock out, and then they realize really quick that, you know, yeah, there's a real Kimura king out there. So Brock's been huge in my grappling partner. He's been, you know, and he's always been supportive of every move I've had, and he's always been there by my side. Of like when I make moves, you know, he wants to be a part of it and really help me, you know, do the best for me, and that's always been his focus, and that's just been a big part of my training since I started.
So, Tony, you're taking on OAM this Saturday in Pittsburgh, and it's a really intriguing matchup because both of you guys have come such a long way. He's not really known for being a knockout artist or anything. He's known for winning decisions, but you got to respect that quality. What's your opinion of the matchup itself?
Yeah, I think it's a really good matchup. I think that he's obviously seems like he's very strong, got good grappling. I don't think he's got great grappling. I think it's just the pressure. He just puts pressure on these guys, and once he gets to the back, he is really good at staying on the back and finishing rear naked chokes there. I think he's got like 7 or 8 rear naked chokes from the back, and it's mostly just been, I think he just overwhelmed guys with his pressure. But like I said, I grew up grappling with Brock Larson, and you know, there's no guy I'm going to fill with pressure like that. You know, there's a different pressure to Brock's game that is just doesn't even seem realistic most of the time. So I think it's a great matchup for me. I've been waiting to fight a grappler of, you know, kind of a little bit more of an American style, you know, wrestling and then grappling, like a pressure grappling, which is perfect for what I've done. You know, in Minnesota is all I've done is beat up wrestlers in training, and so I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a great fight for me. I fully expect to have a finish in this one.
Now, going into that Johnny Case fight, you know, a lot of people were saying stuff like, if Tony Martin's going to win the fight, he has to take it to the mat. And if the fight stays standing, Johnny Case has the edge. You went out there, you outstruck Johnny Case. Do you feel more confident than ever in your stand-up now?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just been a process of, you know, just getting confidence inside the octagon. I feel like I've been a good striker inside the gym. And I've been one of those gym warriors where beating people up in the gym always, and then I get inside the octagon. I just couldn't find my range. I couldn't get comfortable inside there. So I've been, you know, that was the focus in that fight where, you know, Johnny was being a little disrespectful about my striking as well, and a lot of his fans were saying the same thing. And so I really wanted to prove, like, hey, no, I know this guy can't hurt me. I just got to stand in here and let it go. So that was a big motivation for me, was just getting more confidence inside there with my striking, because I knew if I let it go that I could be one of the top strikers in the game as well.
And, you know, it seems like every card now there's a weight cutting problem on each card. And, you know, you're a huge 155er. I think you're 6 foot or maybe even taller. What are your thoughts on the weight cutting in MMA, and how is your weight cut going?
Well, so I took this fight on 5 weeks' notice. That was the the first thing I did right away is I called Perfecting Athletes who I work with, and I was like, hey, can we make weight? Can we make it without messing with performance at all? And they're like, yes, we just got to stick to the schedule, be very important to not make any mistakes. So they're coming out. They'll be out here. They get in tonight, I think, Perfecting Athletes. And so the weight cutting is tough, mostly on short notice. You know, you're expected to make the exact weight of 155, and you take a fight on 5 weeks' notice or 3 weeks' notice. But I think it's a lot of just self-discipline of, outside of camp and even in camp. I see a lot of guys, they're just not, especially in camp is where I go very strict on everything. You know, I'm a very straightforward. I like to focus fully on the fight. I feel like the weight cut makes me, just feel like I'm involved in the fight. But I do think there should be more weight classes. It would be nice for them to introduce those other weight classes in there. And, I would probably, definitely probably go up to 165 if they put that weight class in. But mostly it's just doing stuff right and having the right support of, the right nutritionist where you're not destroying your body or you're trying to pull off too much weight when you're already dehydrated. So I always tell people this is a process that starts 8 weeks out from the cut. It's not a thing that starts. It's not fight week all of a sudden you should be cutting weight. It should be 8 weeks out. You should be you're introducing the right body, all the right nutrients to your body, so your body's prepared at that 8 weeks to let go of that water quick and then to re-put all of those nutrients back in. So it's something where if you're not prepared over time, it's the same thing of fighting. If your skills, you don't just gain skills in 2 weeks. It's got to be something that you prepared for a long time, and then it should pay off when the time is right. So it's a thing where I try to do as far. The second I always get a call, I'm instantly fully locked in on my diet and exactly planned out where my weight should be. But I'm a little bit heavier than I am in some camps at this point, about 2-3 pounds over what I'm normally coming in. But I'm healthy. I've been 5.5 weeks straight. Eating all my greens, everything's good. So my body's ready to pull the weight. So I'm gonna be just fine come Wednesday.
Now, Tony, you're a very mentally strong guy. You started off your UFC career 1-3. Now, at that point, a lot of other fighters, they might have been like, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should go fight on the regional scene. For you, you put your head down, you grinded. Now you're 4-3 in the UFC. What kind of advice would you send, not just to kids, but someone that's going through adversity in their life that, hey, they can see things through, they can do great things with their lives?
Yeah, my main thing is always just do things the right way. It's just one of those things, if you do things the right way, everything's going to take care of itself. And, it's one of my football coach in high school was big and very adamant on just taking care of yourself and what you can handle, So you can't stress once you're 1-3. It's not a thing of, I can't decide if the UFC is going to keep me or if they're going to cut me. What I can do is go back to the training room, figure out what I got to change, put those actions in, hire a dietitian, make sure I'm with the best coaches, make sure I'm doing everything right on my end, and then when it comes time, I just got to go out there and perform. So the big thing is always just do things the right way is always going to take care of itself.
Yeah, and Tony, I actually had an interesting question for you. Whatever happened to your old teammate Adam McDonough? Because, he had that vicious KO of Coy and Bellator, and then, he lost to Korshkov, who's one of the best guys in the world, and we never saw him again.
Yeah, he's a bigwig in the working industry. So he's got he's at a director role level right now at Robinson. So makes really good money. So it's one of those things that's he's got a son now, a wife. So it's one of those things where he's like financially, MMA is not the greatest sport to make huge financial gain unless you're in the top 1%, if that. And so he just took a life decision, and he hasn't fully retired, but he was also a huge part of my coming up, and he still comes out to all my fights, so he'll be coming out to Pittsburgh. But I don't know if we'll be seeing him or not. That's up to him still, but he just makes so much money doing what he does now that it's just financially it wouldn't make any sense for him to put that to the side.
Well, Well, Tony, man, it's going down this Saturday, you and OAM. I know you'll take a win by any means necessary, but when you visualize this, do you think it's going to be a finish, or are you seeing a unanimous decision?
No, I mean, honestly, I see a knockout or a submission. I just don't, and I feel like I say that a lot, but this one seems like that perfect matchup where he either goes to sleep on his feet or he shoots a bad shot and I finish him right there. I just don't see it any other way. But like you said, I'll take a win any way it comes. I'm not gonna, put myself in a bad situation just to, try to do something stupid. But I fully expect that my skill set's way above his, and I plan on going out there this Saturday and proving it.
Yeah, and Tony, one last question. You have experience versus southpaws. Dariush and Alex White were both southpaws. Do you prefer fighting southpaws, or are you looking forward to the fact that he is a southpaw, or or do you really not even care?
I probably would say if I had to pick, I'd rather fight an orthodox guy. But the southpaw, when I first started, was Brock. All I did was train with Brock so often, and Brock was a southpaw. So I got really used to fighting southpaws. And then, I fought Daniel Levi, but that's when I was still training with Brock all the time, so I was also seeing southpaws. And then I left. And then I feel like I've been out of the game a little bit with southpaws. And, but I think it's still, if I just stick to what I know and what I'm good at and not press the issue, I think that I'll be great matchup for southpaws. My right hand's my best weapon, and that's the best weapon to beat a southpaw. So if you think of it that way, I should, take these southpaws out pretty easily. So I'm pretty excited. I think that, I like southpaws. They're a little different. The approach is a little bit different than orthodox, but, either way, it's just business as usual.
Well, Tony, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us right here, right now on Half the Battle. Let the audience know where they can follow you and reach you, and any message for the fans, go ahead.
You can reach me at tmartinmma at Twitter, and then I think Instagram is the same. And then just tune in, Fox Sports 1, September 16th, 9:30 p.m. roughly is when I'll be going on. So tune in, and hopefully you enjoy the show.
Tony Martin, thank you so much for the time, and best of luck in the fight, man.
Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate it.